Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some really crazy news, probably some of the biggest news, I think, in the comparison between the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, where right now we're now seeing extensive testing showing that the PlayStation 5 is on a whole nother level. Now, as you guys probably know, the big kind of selling point so far for this console generation for the Xbox has been like Game Pass, streaming games, cloud hosting, and cloud servers, and essentially trying to go make that big push of putting Xbox Game Pass and streaming on your console, on your TV by itself, on your phone, on your laptop, pretty much anywhere you want to go, on even like your things such as like your Steam Deck, Lenovo's, etc. But one thing to note is that we've now been seeing some really big extensive testing right now, and this is going to be going pretty viral over here from Digital Foundry, who's kind of like their big specialties when it comes to like, you know, the gaming world and all that, is what's good, what's bad, and how do we kind of combine this information to see and kind of present it in a good way. And this is going to be a crazy video because it seems like right now the PlayStation actually has a better quality and better options when it comes to the Xbox and PlayStation. So throughout this video, we're going to go and show you guys the actual examples and highlight it, kind of react to it, give you my thoughts, and as well kind of give a little more specifications, show some articles on why it's a little bit bigger, and all of that. So make sure you guys are stay tuned, relax, and enjoy. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below. We're going to be actually starting up Final Fantasy on Twitch tonight, so if you guys are bored, go follow that on up. And of course, sign up for Weeble, get a bunch of free stock, and let's go and dive on into the video itself. So first, I'm going to give you guys the high level, where Digital Foundry, which we're going to show you guys over in a second, was found testing the Xbox and PlayStation cloud gaming, and the results are now apparently on the mixture side. Now, there's always been a big debate between the PlayStation and Xbox. It's kind of just the overall, discourse of all times. But right now, this is like basically PlayStation, which is known for its bread and butter, so fun games, single-player experiences, versus Xbox, just more of like now pushing towards the publisher and like Game Pass, really good value. And right now, it kind of seems that they're kind of blurring the line a little bit more. I think cloud streaming is a big part of modern gaming these days, especially when it comes to subscription services and bolstering these offerings. Both Sony and Microsoft integrate some form of the tech into PS Plus and Xbox Game Pass, and outlet Digital Foundry has decided to take a look at how they're both holding up in 2024, which I'm going to show you guys in a second. The team has preferred a variety of tests across multiple cloud titles, and the results are quite interesting. The quick summary for their limited testing is that the PS Plus delivers better image quality in the performance, while xCloud turns in better latency figures. So right now, a lot of folks usually, this is kind of just opinion based. I think this is both kind of how they said, a win on both sides. Like basically you just have a lot more better like reception, better like, say for multiplayer games, it might be nicer for streaming, while PlayStation Plus has a better image quality and performance, which would also make sense because they mainly specialize in single player games. So once again, they're kind of playing to their strengths of what they like. Now, I still think this, in theory, like this is just my opinion, call me out if you guys want to disagree down below, is that I do think that image quality and performance is a better than latency figures, mainly because if I'm playing something, even streaming, I want to have the better, nicer image and resolution. I'd rather have a really good crisp 1080p than a 720p or even, God forbid, a 480p at this day and age. So in terms of how these games are accessed, so before I show you guys, Digital Foundry used a PS5 on the Sony side of things and an Xbox Series X for Microsoft's cloud gaming option. And then interestingly, their results found that the PS5 streaming matches local PS5 performance, besides the latency, because you're obviously downloading stuff, there's always going to be a little bit of a lag mixed in, and while the Xbox Series X actually using Xbox Series S performance targets. And then here's a snippet from their breakdown of the findings. I guess we're going to actually show you guys this in a second. So there's an extra twist to this too. Not only is the video stream lower quality on Xbox's cloud gaming service, but users are being served the Xbox Series S versions of each game they tested, despite confirmation from Microsoft that xCloud data centers are built on the X Series X silicon. So this actually could maybe just be a huge somehow like unraveling that no one ever knew about, whether for some odd reason using the Xbox Series S, and they should have been using the Xbox Series X the entire time, or as well sometimes from actual testing, maybe it's not as strong. So based on our testing, it stands to reason that today's implementation of the Xbox Cloud uses a virtualized Series S running on a Series X silicon. So this is likely to save on server load for Microsoft, but unfortunately this does mean that their games don't perform quite as well on the PS5 via cloud streaming. Games like A Plague Tale Requiem and Resident Evil 2 ran around 20 FPS lower on the Xbox side, which isn't ideal, and that's actually worse than PlayStation's cloud streaming. And once again, this is like Xbox's bread and butter, so we're not sure what's up with this. Moving Back for Blood for a latent test though, Xbox comes out the clear winner with around a 40 millisecond less than a delay than the PS5. Controller input latency latency is one of the biggest issues with cloud gaming. So it's basically like you want to move up and you have to wait for the character to move up, move to the right. It takes a little time for the character to move to the right. Press A, press star. It has that little small micro latency. So you're technically streaming everything too as well. So it seems like a lot of results are actually favoring on the PlayStation side. Now, this is going to be kind of like the video itself highlight over here from Digital Foundry, where now this will have the big comparison between the two. Now, I might be in the middle of some of this stuff over here. I'm going to let you guys kind of see some of the stuff where they have some things such as PS5 cloud streaming. They have some things such as the actual individual like game itself, like just on your disc or already digitally downloaded. But so far, like everything we've seen, it shows that it's kind of maybe hard to see one-to-one when it comes to on a video, because I'm basically watching a video on a video. But when it comes to a lot of type of stuff, it kind of shows that like the PlayStation is better. Like from all these images and resolutions and all the testing, it shows that the PS5 is very comparable when you're doing streaming, which is big. Like, look at the comparison between the two. Like, the graphics, this might be kind of hard to break down fully, but, like, it's just a little bit worse on the cloud streaming. Like, if you guys are basically just staring at it one-to-one or pause the video, it does show that it is a little bit more, like, not as detailed, because obviously you're streaming stuff. Like, a good example is on all these, like, Cyberpunk clips, where maybe you look at, like, the foliage or the lighting, or it's similar, it's still good, and this is, I think, probably them kind of showing up a high example on this one, where there's just a lot more on the local install, more textures, more details. Like everything just looks nicer on the local drive versus the cloud streaming. That's how it's meant to be. You're always perpetually downloading something. But some of the bigger things though is when it comes to them doing the testing on everything else. So this is the PS5 Plus versus basically PlayStation streaming, and this is the Xbox. So this is like the big thing to kind of go and note right now for this, where they have the install over here, which I believe is just based on the video. So it's PS5 Plus versus the xCloud image quality comparison. So this is kind of where like the big talk is coming from. And like you guys can kind of go and see, it just seems like everything is just more efficient, more vibrant, a little bit more nicer, more actual proper texture details, and everything seems better. Like look at also, if you guys want to look at the frame rate, if you're comparing the frame rate between the two, you can see so many more individual frames on the PlayStation Cloud streaming compared to the Xbox itself, where they just have a lot more details. Now, it's kind of weird because they keep on throwing in the PS5 local install, so it's kind of a strange one to throw on in because obviously that will be better, but you guys can even look through this actual image where there's just a lot more frames. Like kind of, like if you just want to look at through this in particular, there's a few things I want to break down. Number one is on the fact of, if you look at this resolution, look at how visibly spotty the Project X Cloud is. And as well, also, as I'm pausing the video, look at number one, the local install looks amazing. Lots of individualized, like say, hay or whatever this might be, wheat in the flowers. Look at the hair details, the colors, the mountain as well. These are probably the best things to look at for like the comparison that they're trying to go and show. Look at the mountain itself. I'm going to put myself maybe over here for a second. But look at the mountain, look at the characters, look at everything. So the mountain on the actual local install, which you'd get for the Xbox Series X, looks very detailed. You can see a lot more individual bricks. It just looks nicer. Now the actual PS5 cloud streaming, you guys can kind of look at the details. There's a little bit more shading. You can still see a little bit more of the individual rocks, although not as easy to see. Like, look at maybe this one, like right here where my mouse cursor is. Like, you can see, like, some of the individual bricks. You see the colors. You see the white colors. You still see the door itself with a little bit of a light tied on in. Some of the rocks also have a little more extra details and, like, say, the sun bouncing off of it. And also look at the individual strands. Now, these are still not as good as the local install that you'd get on the PS5 or Xbox, but it's still quite decent, I would say. And if you look at the Project X Cloud, no offense to it, looks horrible. Now, look at how number one blurry the background is. This is looking the same exact area as well. So the background is blurred. There is, I believe, less actual foliage on the rocks themselves. Like, they look a little bit smaller, not as detailed, like you can kind of look and see. The colors are all just more one-dimensional. If you look at the individualized home, you just don't see almost any individual lines. Like, at least for this, it could be like line, 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 line. You see the individual bricks. Everything is basically just kind of lumped together because it's farther away and not as nice resolution-wise. In the door itself, you don't even see, like, say, the light in the actual entrance into the door. It's all kind of blurred together, and it just overall looks like kind of a bigger mess. Now, there's a lot of other bigger comparisons, too, if you kind of go click through it, but as you guys can kind of go and see, just the quality itself is a lot lesser. It really does kind of feel like an Xbox Series S, and even also looking at the frame rate, too, as well, it does seem like the frame rate on these lower, more slowed down images are very, very lackluster. Like, you can kind of just go basically tell, like, this is literally the Xbox versus PlayStation on streaming itself. Now, no one really knows why this happened for Xbox, because they did say that they're using the Xbox Series S. I'm not sure if that's fixable, if they just have to update it, if it's done intentionally and they're trying to save data storage space and people are now just catching on to it. But either way, it kind of seems like the PlayStation, by comparison, is blowing everything outside the water, utilizing their cloud streaming itself. Now, it doesn't mean that the xCloud isn't bad, and it almost kind of does seem like it's more specialized on things than their own individual games, which would make sense, but it seems like for a third party, it seems slightly nicer for the PlayStation overall. So I want to hear your thoughts and comments on this, because this is going to probably be a little bit more of a breaking story as more people kind of dig into it, try to get information and comments on all this stuff, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching here in the first place. Thank you guys, etc., and I just love you guys. With the Twitter, Twitch room down below, subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll talk to you guys all later on throughout today for another video. Love you guys.